Hold on, what? My gosh, that was a gut punch. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting that at all. This was hard. This was a hard thing for the heart to handle. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. I'm Becca, and on this channel I've been reacting my way through eating disorder recovery alongside chronic illness, one video at a time. And today we're finally doing one of the reactions that so many of you all have continually requested, and I told you I needed to wait till I was in a right headspace to do it because I've heard that it is very intense and potentially upsetting and triggering subject matter, so I wanted to just give myself a chance to get to a place where I thought I could do it responsibly without causing harm to myself. I think today's the day. So I'm finally doing the Tales Trilogy, The Tale of Jenny Screech and Violet, and I'm doing the full version because in the comments that you've left, you've recommended that that's the one to watch. So we're getting ready to watch that. And without further ado, since it's a long video, the full version itself, let's just get into this analysis of The Tale of Jenny and Screech full, which I know includes Violet's tale at the end. So,
quick disclaimer, there is some fairly graphic and violent imagery throughout these songs, including descriptions of extreme harm at the hands of others. Please use caution and skip this video if those subjects are triggering or activating for you. Take care of yourself above all.
Since we know it's pretty intense subject matter, I just want to take our breath and get ourselves in the zone and ready to go. All right, let's do this. Okay, he's gonna get into start singing, so I'm gonna take it back so we don't miss where he starts singing here. But I just want to point out quickly at the beginning that the way he's picking that at the beginning is somewhat similar to the very beginning instrumental that he does on the guitar in High Ren. However, as we know, this is like a modern day bardcore masterpiece. That's the phrase I've heard so many people say, and I love bardcore music in general, and he nailed that bardcore feel with that just kind of melody that he's picking at the beginning. And let's take it back and restart it and get into the point where he's actually singing it. I just wanted to make the note about the musicality there because, again, as always, he nails it from the very first second. Okay, oh my gosh. So we know he can do like the yodeling type stuff. He did that in High Ren. I'm sure he's done different things in other songs that I've not had a chance to get to yet. But once again, this is something I have not yet seen him do. That very, like, that almost muted just version of singing. Like, it almost emulated an instrument that has a mute in it, like a trumpet that has a mute, except it wasn't quite tinny like that when he was just kind of doing that and walking down and turning in a circle as he was singing that and playing and going down the street here. And again, the cinematography, he has used the space so well here. We're just at the beginning, so I don't want to... I'm going to try my best not to pause as much in this one, guys. I can't help but comment on those things at the very beginning, especially when it's something that I haven't seen him do yet, and he, of course, nails it, because that's what he does.
It was a quiet, dark night in an empty street somewhere in London City. Jenny walked alone, she was dragging her feet. She was heading back home to sleep. Well, she knew this town, she knew this floor, because she walked it about 1,000 times before she wanted to escape. Can you blame?
So he's setting the scene here. Obviously, this is a very storytelling song, so I'm loving that we're getting into that. So there's not necessarily like a whole lot, at least not yet, a whole lot of double, triple, quadruple entendres in each line, but the storytelling is very just wonderfully delivered and just so seamlessly done. And he's just setting this scene so well. It's, you know, it's a quiet, dark night on an empty street somewhere in London City. Jenny walked alone. She was dragging her feet. She was heading back home to sleep. Well, she knew this town. She knew this floor because she'd walked it about 1,000 times before. She wanted to escape, can you blame? That she knew this town, she walked this floor reminds me of a line in one of the verses of one of the versions of Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah where it says, maybe I've been here before, I've seen this room, I've walked this floor. That's what that reminded me of there. And I'm wondering, since she's walked it 1,000 times before, I'm wondering if that means she's like out on the streets working, like selling herself in that way. I could be completely off, but I know that, again, it's some intense themes in this song, so maybe there's something there. Let's take it back a little bit.
She wanted to escape. Can you blame? Well, on the very same night, in a different place, there was this hooded young youth by the name of James. He was 14 years old and out of his brain, he'd been smoking ganja with the boys. James, he grew up to be a kid of the street. His mates called him Screech, he was quick on his feet. He was a liar, a thief. At 14 years old, the devil had set his sights on his soul.
Okay, so I love the way that he's switching up his style here. It got very subtly there, like a little bit quicker in tempo, maybe not, but the way he delivered it definitely kind of felt that way. And like there was just this brief burst of a little bit more energy when he's going into this verse about in the same night in a different place, there walked this hooded blonde youth by the name of James, who was 14 years old and out of his brain. He'd been smoking ganja with the boys, who's obviously been smoking weed and doing all that. Totally not in his right mind. We also learn in this verse that James is Screech, as in one of the title characters of this trilogy, that it was a nickname that his friends gave him. He was quick on his feet, and that he also was into a bunch of making trouble. He was a liar, a thief at just 14 years old. It says the devil had set his sights on his soul, so he was already dealing with a lot of these demons, struggling with a lot of things that are very difficult to deal with at any age, but definitely at 14 when you're that young. And I just want to point out, I love the way that Ren, as always, he's delivering this melodically, but also very much voice acting out this. And the way his transition into the line there, he said he'd been smoking ganja with the boys, and then he goes into James, like he holds it up there. He takes that up there in a crescendo, holds it up there, and then goes on to the line. He grew up to be a kid of the street. So I just love the way that he does that, the way he holds that line out, the way he crescendos with the name, and then goes on to deliver the rest of the line and the rest of the verse. So let's take it back just a little bit, get back into this.
James, he grew up to be a kid of the street. His mates called him Screech, he was quick on his feet. He was a liar, a thief. At 14 years old, the devil had set his sights on his soul. As Jenny walked home all alone, she felt scared. Usually she was alright, but it was like there was something in the air. A divine intervention telling her to beware, maybe intuition bugging her and making her so scared. Sirens sounded in the distance to the beat of Jenny's feet. A symphony of the night that echoes crime on London streets. Jenny turns a corner, their eyes they meet. Our poor girl Jenny, a boy named Screech.
Okay, I am a little worried about what's getting ready to come up because I'm getting the vibe here from that verse. And as a female existing in this world, I can tell you how scary it can be when you're out, specifically it's at night, specifically if it's dark and you're alone, and you just get this uneasy feeling like there is something not quite right, whether it's you see someone, whether you think someone's following you, whether you just have this uneasy intuition that something is amiss a little bit. That's a really scary feeling to have, especially when usually you feel all right, but something is just a little bit different in the air tonight, and that kind of feels like a call out to the Phil Collins song, but he didn't use that exact same line here, so that may not what he's saying there, but who knows? Could be something there. And I like the way that he continues to paint this picture, this image of the siren sounding in the distance to the beat of Jenny's feet. So as she's walking, the sirens are kind of making the sound along to the rhythm of the beat that she's walking. Both the beat of her actual feet hitting and potentially the beat of her life, the path that she is walking. And then ties it in, says a symphony of the night that echoes crime on London streets. So it's the sirens going throughout the night, all of the sounds of, I would assume, other people running. I would assume gunshots, thievery, whatever it is, all the crime that goes on kind of makes this really twisted symphony when it's dark at night, and all of those things are kind of just chaotically happening at one time. And for me, it's impossible to not see some kind of allusion to Jack the Ripper here. I don't know if that is at all where this is going, so I'm not saying that this song is going there, but just walking alone, a female walking alone on the streets of London at night, it's really hard to not feel like there is something there that calls out to that, because that's one of the most commonly known mass murders in the world, and it was one of the first ones that was like super popularly known, and it's still unsolved. So it feels like there could be a little bit of that here, just with the general imagery of being in London, a girl being scared as she's walking on her way home. But let's get into it here.
Maybe intuition bugging her and making her so scared. Sirens sound in the distance to the beat of Jenny's feet. A symphony of the night that echoes crime on London streets. Jenny turns a corner, their eyes they meet. Our poor girl Jenny, a boy named Screech. Give me all your money, give it to me. If you cooperate, then you'll soon be free. I want your purse, your phone, don't look at me. I mean it. Are you listening to me?
Oh my gosh. Okay. There's not a whole lot to get into that's not obvious in those lyrics there, but I just want to comment on the way he delivered it. Each line that he delivered specifically when he was speaking from that point of view of Screech, of James, of Screech there, he got so much more intense with every line. It's like, give me all your money, give it to me. If you cooperate, then you'll be free. I want your purse, your phone, don't look at me. I mean it, are you listening to me? And then he continually gets like more crazed and more intense as he's delivering those lines. This man is just so good at embodying such a wide variety of emotions with the delivery and his lyrics. The lyrics themselves and the delivery of the lyrics.
I mean it! Are you listening to me? Jenny freezes statue like a lady shakes stalactite. Feel like liquid nitrogen in the dark night. She tried to find strength to move, but stayed as still as a statue in high-heeled shoes. What the hell you playing at? You playing games with me? I swear to don't slice the rosy off your cheeks. You think I don't mean it, go? You don't know me. The last thing you see will be a boy code. Screech reach with the sheep that the...
Okay, all right, we're gonna go back and get that transition because it was a super intense transition that then just kind of dropped out and it got a little calmer, you can tell, but the subject matter he's getting ready to say is not calmer, so let's talk about what we just heard, then we'll get the transition. You know, Jenny freezes statue like a lady-shaped stalactite, and stalactites, here's some middle school science for you, actually elementary school, 5th grade maybe. I learned when you're in like a cave and there are the things that are like attached, the rock formations that are coming down from the roof of the cave and from the floor of the cave. The ones that come up from the ground are called stalagmites. The ones that are coming from the roof of the cave are called stalactites. And the way that my teacher told you to remember that is it's a stalagmite because you might trip over it. That's how you know they're on the ground, and the stalactites hang tight to the ceiling and hang tight to the roof of the cave. Kind of a silly little mnemonic device there, but I like that imagery that he used there. He says, you know, she freezes statue-like, like not moving, a lady-shaped stalactite, so just sticking there, just frozen there. Fear like liquid nitrogen in the dark night. I'm pretty sure what he's going for there is that the fear was making everything feel super chilly, because I think that liquid nitrogen has like a really cool feel or property to it. I could be wrong on that. I feel like there's something I've heard about there at some point. And I just want to say the lyrics themselves, why they don't necessarily require a lot of unpacking because it is storytelling, so he's just kind of delivering the story as it is. How much hard stuff does someone have to go to at 14 years old to get into this thing, to fall into this pattern, to fall in with the types of crowds of people who are engaging in this type of criminal activity, who are essentially accosting people like this in the streets and threatening to kill them if they don't give them money? Like, how much do you have to go through at 14 years old to be dealing with so much darkness and so much pain that you're trying to take that out on everyone else you come across?
You think I don't mean it, go? You don't know me. The last thing you see will be a boy code. Screech reach with the sheath of the blade, with the teeth that could bite through steel and slice concrete. And he swung possessed with the devil in his chest, and the statue she was turned to butter in her breath.
Holy crap. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This imagery, the words that he has chosen to paint this imagery is just so far. Oh my gosh. Okay, so backing up just a little bit to something I forgot to mention in the previous section. Jenny was trying to find the strength to move to get out of there, but she was just finding herself frozen, just standing there in her high heels, and he's like, what are you doing? You playing games with me? I swear I'll slice the rosy off your cheek. So in other words, I'll rob you of anything that you think is giving you that rosy cheek, the happiness, the joy, the anything like that in life. I will literally slice it off. I will literally destroy that because I will destroy you and take that away from you, I think is where he's going with that there. And then he says that line, he says, you think I don't mean it? You don't know me. The last thing you'll see will be a boy called Screech. And Screech is, once again, as we've talked about a lot, the end of that line, but also the beginning of the next line. And the way, again, that Ren does that transition where he's delivering it super intense. And it's like, a boy called Screech reached for the sheath of the blade with the teeth. So it's like a much more subdued way that he's delivering it, but the lyrics are even still darker. So it's not quite as intense a delivery, but the lyrics themselves still kind of cut more and cut harder to the core thus far. So then, you know, it has that line, he reached for the sheath of the blade with the teeth. So obviously it's a knife, most likely with a serrated blade, because blade with teeth on knife, that's what a serrated blade is, that could bite through steel and slice through concrete. So it's a really strong knife here. You know, it's emphasizing how strong and how destructive this knife can be. And said he swung possessed with the devil in his chest, which goes back up to that line in like one of the first couple verses where it said the devil had set his sights on his soul. So now it seems like he has kind of been taken over a little bit by that, and he is swinging possessed with what he feels like this devil in his chest, whether it's the actual devil or just all the demons that he's dealing with that are causing him this rage and this anger and all of this violence. And then the next line, oh my goodness, that's what kind of took me off guard, because the poetic imagery here, he said, and the statue that she was, so he had used the stalactite imagery, the fact that she was frozen, Jenny could not move, she was like a statue there. He says the statue statue that she was turned to butter in a breath, meaning that this knife, his weapon, he went at her, he destroyed her, he killed her, he made the statue that was frozen and the stalactite that was like rock solid and just not moving, turned it into butter, meaning it was destroyed, meaning it was, I'm assuming, I don't want to get too graphic here, but butter is very easily to slice, butter is very easy to cut, butter is very easy to put into a lot of pieces. I can't really dig into that imagery a whole lot more right now, but I think you get where he's going here. It was like this contrast between this frozen, solid stuff, and then once Screech got this violent out, got this knife out, started going at her, he literally was able to destroy her physically, her body like butter in a breath, in the blink of a moment. So it went from that to him attacking her, and she was gone just in the blink of a moment like that. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's finish this first part.
Then the statue she was turned to butter in a breath. It was a quiet dark night in an empty street somewhere in London City. Jenny lay still on the cold concrete. She's found somewhere to sleep. Well, she knew this town, she knew this floor, 'cause she'd walked it about 1,000 times before. I guess that she escaped. It's such a shame.
Okay, I think that's the end of Jenny's tale. Something I didn't catch there until a couple lines had passed, and then it clicked in my head. That last verse, he's saying, it was a quiet dark night on an empty street somewhere in London City. And I want to quickly remark on the way he delivers that line, that somewhere in London City, like the way he does that up and down, that first of all, it's hard to execute. Secondly, there's a very specific song that note pattern has reminded me of that I'm completely blanking on right now. So if I'm off base, let me know. But if there is a song I'm completely missing, also let me know that in the comments below. But that sounds very familiar to me. But the part that got me is that it says, somewhere in London City, Jenny's laid still on the cold concrete. She's found somewhere to sleep. In the first verse, she was trying to go home to find a place to sleep. Now she has metaphorically found a place to sleep on the cold concrete. Sleep in this context, meaning murdered, because she has been killed and she is laying there stone cold on the concrete of the sidewalk, of the street, whatever. And then kind of calls back to some of the previous lines about, you know, she knew this town, she knew this floor, because she'd walked it about 1,000 times before. I guess that she escaped. So it wasn't the escape she was looking for, it wasn't the breaking free, but she was literally murdered. She was literally killed. And the fact that the last line that he delivers there is just, it's such a shame. It's like, this could have gone so differently. She knew all this, but she had this chance encounter, and now she's gone. Oh. And I love the way that he did that. It's such a shame. Like, I didn't get all the right notes there, but the way he delivered that and the look and expression on Ren's face here, again, as always, you can just feel the emotionally heavy-laden air. The air is literally heavy-laden with emotion. You can feel all of this emotion. You can feel all of this power. It is just so daggone strong, so powerful, and he delivers it in such a subdued yet extremely impactful way that just gives me absolute chills. All right, let's take it back just a little bit once again, of course, to get that transition from Jenny's tale into Screech's tale and keep this train rolling. Oh my goodness, this is gonna be a ride. Actually, full disclosure, I had to pause between that first part and coming back to film this part because I needed to breathe for a minute because I have a feeling it's gonna get pretty dark again.
It's such a shame.
Okay, before he gets into singing, I again want to point out his mastery with the guitar here. Now, I'd have to take it back to the very beginning of Jenny's tale to see if that's the same intro. I think it sounded slightly different, but it's very much still that same bardcore style, and I love the way that they zoomed in on some of the stuff he was doing there, because you can hear the very raw nature of the notes that he's, like, picking. You can also catch the faint little slides there when he's moving his hand up and down the fretboard. I was doing that kind of backwards there. Guess it would be this hand. I love his attention to detail with the notes. I love the way that he is making this so perfectly crystally clear, just coming through the air, even though it's like jumping all over the place note-wise. Again, not something that's super easy to do, but he clearly has mastered this art on guitar itself and has also mastered the art of creating music and putting together melodies that other people might not think to do. So I love it. Let's take it back a little bit and then we'll get into Screech's actual tale here. Chills. Chills. Okay, I said I was gonna let him sing, but I didn't realize we were gonna have another, like, essentially second part to that instrumental there. It was the very sparse, kind of eclectic type bardcore intro coming in there, and then as he started walking down the stairs there, he wasn't necessarily, like, happy smiling on his face, but you could tell he was really into the music, and the music took on this new level of intensity and this, like, in-your-faceness that still wasn't, like, super loud, but it had more intensity the way he was playing, the way he was delivering it, the way he was walking down the stairs, walking down the street there. Oh, this guy does such a good job. Not only with the lyrics, as we've already talked about, painting a picture, setting the scene and all of that, but the music that he starts each song with already sets the scene in and of itself. So any lyrics he adds to that are just exponentially making that clear picture even clearer and more vivid. And, oh, his musicality just continues to amaze me. He does have a little bit of a smile there. It looked like right towards like the end when before his name flashed up on the screen, it looked like he was smiling a little bit, but I still don't think it's like happy smiling. I think it's kind of trying to embody maybe the kind of deranged spirit of Screech. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Our story, it starts right at the end of the life of poor Jenny, clocked out like Big Ben.
Oh my gosh, okay, so I love the feel of this. I love the general bardcore vibe. You don't see artists do this nowadays. You do not see artists who can do this in a way that is super accessible without it sometimes seeming kind of kitschy. That's not at all what this is. This is pure art. He is pure storytelling here with the amazing music in the background. And as we heard him say here, he says, our story, it starts right at the end of the life of poor Jenny. And as he's done, he said, our story, it starts. That line, of course, the end of it is what carries over to the beginning of the next line, as he does all the time. Right at the end of the life of poor Jenny, clocked out like Big Ben. So Big Ben is obviously the big clock tower in London. Clocked out being a double entendre metaphor there for literally being knocked down, for being dead, for not being alive anymore. I wasn't expecting that soon in that verse. Let's take it back a little bit.
Our story, it starts right at the end of the life of poor Jenny, clocked out like Big Ben. Dear Screech, dear boy, where did he go? He melted into the black night just like snow.
Oh, those vocals! Not only does he have that power, he's doing this type of singing very well, the melodies that are common in bardcore, the types of progression and stuff, but that last little slide down, that snow, like I can't do the right voices right there because I don't have that kind of range, but like, oh my gosh, he is telling this story as much with his intonation, as much with his delivery, as always, as he is with the lyrics, and that adds a whole other level of emotion that wouldn't be there if someone wasn't as good at also crafting the story with the way he delivers, even just that one word, that snow, like, oh my gosh, this guy, his voice, his musicality, his lyricality, his voice, his ability to deliver on everything. As we know, Ren does not miss, not once. And I love that desperation. He's like, where did he go? There's that desperation trying to find him. He melted into the black night just like snow, and that's when he did that like slide down on snow. So you can hear that desperation of trying to find him, like, where did he go? And then he's just melted away into the black night like snow. And then, I don't know, I love the way that he is acting that out musically with the lyrics and with the words and the melody there.
He melted into the black night just like snow. Patrick, man, let me in, please open the door. I think I f***ed up Patrick, really f***ed up, man, I'm not sure. I got crazy, left this lady lying still on the floor. I think I killed her, Patrick, come on, man, I can't knock no more.
Holy crap, I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready for that. So he was knocking on his guitar there, obviously imitating Screech here, knocking on the door. I'm assuming one of his friends, because he's coming to his friend Patrick, knocking on the door saying, hey, let me in. I think I really screwed up here. I think I really screwed up. I left somebody laying there cold. I killed this person. I left her laying on the ground. I think I really screwed up. What can I do here? I need help. Please let me in. And again, he's very desperate, delivering that like, listen, man, I can't knock no more. Please let me in. I think I killed her. I can't knock no more. And you can hear the desperation in his delivery here. Oh, goodness.
I think I f***ed up Patrick, really f***ed up, man, I'm not sure. I got crazy, left this lady lying still on the floor. I think I killed her, Patrick, come on, man, I can't knock no more. But Screech kept on knocking till his knuckles became sore. But there's no sign of Patrick down at number 54. No refuge for our villain, for the bitter hands of fate, with something far more sinister in mind that does away.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so his look on his face there right before I paused it, you could tell he's getting ready to get into whatever this more sinister thing is that he referenced in those lines. He just had this like look on his face that I can't emulate very well, but he said Screech kept on knocking till his knuckles became sore, but there's no sign of Patrick down at number 54, so Patrick's not opening the door, not letting him in. No refuge for our villain. The bitter hands of fate, next line, bitter hands of fate have something far more sinister in mind that does await. So I'm a little nervous to see what's coming next because it's already been pretty dark and intense, but I think Ren's face here, right before I paused it, gave us a clue that it's getting ready to go that direction even further.
No refuge for our villain, for the bitter hands of fate, with something far more sinister in mind that does away. Hey, babe, are you in? No, nothing really. I'm just a bit tired. Listen, can I swing around yours for a few moments? I just really miss you, babe. What the f*** do you mean you're busy? You for f***'s sakes! Siren sounds approaching.
Okay, he's getting ready to get in the music again, but I want to talk about that little interlude that he did there. Oh my gosh. So, like in Sick Boy, like in Illest of Our Time, like in a couple different places in his songs, his breath is playing an integral part. In those songs, it played part of the beat almost. It was like a compliment to the beat that was going on. It was part of the overall message of those songs as well. But here, it's in this interlude part where he's taken on this role of Screech. Obviously, you can hear him like breathing heavily from trying to run, from trying to knock on that door, not being let in, from trying to run away from this horrible thing that he's done. Calling whom I'm assuming is maybe his girlfriend, maybe someone like that in his life, saying, hello, hey, babe, you in? Nothing really, I'm just a bit tired, and listen, can I swing around yours for a few moments? I really just miss you. He says, what do you mean you're busy? And then just goes off and screams at her and hangs up the phone, and then you can hear that breathing again before he starts the music again, and I'm like sweating here because I'm that nervous, excitedly so to see what's happening, because the way he's delivering this, his facial expressions, his vocal intonation, all of that we've discussed at length already is just so perfectly complementing the story that he's telling with the words and with the music and the melody itself. And I like how he captured the frantic nature of rage and panic and anger that would most likely be going on for someone in this situation. Like, he has just embodied that spirit so well, communicated it, of course, so well, and oh, let's see what's coming up.
Siren sounds approaching like a banshee in the night. The shrill cry of justice cutting like the sharpest knife. But Screech was never one to run, not one to miss a fight. One hand upon his blade, he turned to face the blue lights. Come on then, you let's have you then. I am Screech, I'm the boss, I'm the ender of men. You think that uniform you're wearing means that you own these streets? These are my streets, and they call me Screech! Richard was there not.
Oh my gosh, alright, again, we'll get it back into the transition to go into this next part, but let's talk about those lyrics for a minute. Of course, siren sounds approaching like a banshee in the night, call back to the sirens in Jenny's Tale, where they were talking about it being like a symphony on the streets of London when the crime's going on at night in darkness. Brought the siren imagery back around. You're screaming like a banshee, so screaming this really high-pitched, just getting under your skin, getting into your ears. There's sound that is just really hard to not hear. And I think that there's also this play on words. Screech is also like a word that means something like screeching loudly like that, like a loud sound like that. So it could be that there's a play there, even though that's not necessarily why his nickname was what it was. I think that there could be some kind of play there for the banshee, screeching, sirens, all of that. Then he says the shrill cry of justice. I think that that all is tying in together into this kind of analogy of screaming, of screeching, of shrieking, of sirens, of all of that noise and commotion and chaos. It says the shrill cry of justice cutting like the sharpest knife. I'm assuming what he's going there is he's hearing those sirens, he's hearing all this noise, he knows that they are coming for him. He's like, this could destroy me very much here. This could be what takes me down. This hurts harder than any knife weapon that I have because they could destroy my life because I have already destroyed someone else's life. And then goes on to point off that Screech was never one to run and never miss a fight, so he literally put his hand back on his knife, turned to face the blue light, so turned to face the cops, screamed at them, basically said, come on, let's go, let's do this then. And then I love the intensity with which Ren delivered, again, each of those lines more in intensity, more with the crazed, panic, deranged, kind of desperate look on his face delivering that line. No, I am Screech, I'm the boss here, I'm the ender of man. Then continues to address the police officer. You think that uniform you're wearing means that you own these streets? Well, these are my freaking streets and they call me freaking Screech. Like, he almost screamed that at the end there. He was almost yelling that, like declaring, as embodying Screech here, declaring that he owns these streets, that he's gonna not turn around, he's gonna stand there and fight his ground no matter what happens. All right, let's take it back a little.
These are my streets, and they call me Screech. Richard was an officer who stood at 6'3", working London on the night shift. What he didn't think he'd see was a boy running at him like an animal possessed. With no time to hesitate, he fired 4 bullets at Screech's chest. Story it ends.
Okay, we're gonna get this last little stance, but I just want to comment on here. The officer didn't hesitate. He had no time to hesitate. He shot Screech, and I love the way that Ren illustrated that there. Not only did he illustrate the sound of the gunshots the way he did like the plucking and the slapping on his guitar there. 1, 2, 3, 4, one deliberate gunshot after another to illustrate that. But then the camera work as he finishes that and is kind of like squatting down here as if he's kind of the policeman checking to see if the body is dead. That's just so masterful. Again, a whole other level to the story. In addition to the words themselves that he's saying, he is acting this out, taking on the different characters in all of these stories, and what can't, I've said it before, I'll say it again, what can't this guy do? This is such a modern masterpiece of storytelling art, and oh my gosh, it hits hard. Let's take it back to get that transition and finish out Screech's tale, hopefully, if it doesn't surprise me again.
Story it ends right at the start. Young Screech and poor Jenny lying 1 street apart. An officer shaken by the boy that he claimed. 2 bodies lay lifeless, and it's such a shame. It's such a shame.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, that was heavy. That was dark. That was heavy, and we're just 2/3 of the way through. Just want to mention a couple of things there. I don't want to take too much away from it, but I do want to say, he was talking about the officer who was working, didn't think that something he'd be seeing was this like 14-year-old boy running crazed at him trying to attack like he was possessed by an animal. Then he fired those bullets at him, and then it once again goes back to our story. It ends right at the start, which is how the end of Jenny's tale ended. Almost the exact same line, if not the exact same line. And then the last line, it's such a shame, is how that ended as well. And he does, of course, bends the word shame up and down when he's delivering that line, and that makes it so much more powerful, as we know. As far as those last few lines though, It says, young Screech and poor Jenny lie in one street apart, an officer shaken by the boy that he claimed, so the officer is also shaken. These two bodies are now dead. Screech killed Jenny. Screech is now dead by the officer. The officer himself is now shaken. Jenny and Screech are literally a block apart, both lying dead on the streets of London. It says, two bodies lay lifeless, and it's such a shame, and then he does the it's such a shame, and bends that word shame up and down melodically again to just give that chilling factor to this whole set and setting and painting this whole picture for us. So, this is a heavy one, guys. You weren't lying. This is heavy. But let's go ahead and let's get into Violet's Tale, the portion of this that I'm kind of scared to see what else is coming up, but let's go. Okay, hold on. It's still black right here. I want to give a disclaimer. I have a feeling I'm about to lose it. I don't know. I do not know what's coming up in these last 6 minutes of this video. But I recognize that beeping sound anywhere. That's the beeping sound of a hospital machine. That's a beeping sound of a monitor in a hospital. And that sound alone brings up a lot of stuff in me because of my own experiences and the negative things that have happened as a result of chronic illness, as a result of being in the hospital, just being in the hospital, and the layers of that just adds, the layers of difficulty, the layers of panic, the layers of helplessness and hopelessness, and that hearing that sound there before anything even comes on the screen when it's just black is really shaking me a little bit. It's shaking me up a little bit, so I'm gonna try to breathe and pull myself together and restart this Violet's Tale and get into it. Okay, you can't miss this kind of parallel here. These intros that he's doing for each of these, for Jenny, for Screech, for Violet's, they're all different melodically, but they're all that same like bardcore type feel to the intros. There were a couple different little ditties in here, a couple parts of the melody that were extremely similar to the intro melody that he's picking on High Ren, and him sitting there in a bed here, in the hospital bed with that gown on, is just recalling that imagery in that video. And I know that High Ren came out late 2022. I know that this came out in, I believe, 2019. So I know this technically came out first, but it's impossible to not see that crossover and that influence from one to the other here. And that just makes me believe it's going to be even more powerful than I initially thought. That is a song. That melody is from something. Oh, what song is that? Roger, come here real quick. I have a music question for you.
Okay.
I'm gonna sing this little song and I'll play a little part. This is some song that I'm blanking on. I know it was like the melody's playing. It's like you'll recognize it. Hold on. I can't place it. That beginning part sounds like something though. It sounds like some kind of like dance, some kind of, I feel like the song has like dance in it, or like okay, maybe I'm thinking of a different song, but it sounds very similar. You know what I'm thinking about?
No, I don't recognize it.
Really?
At all. No.
Okay, it's driving me crazy because that is a song. Guys, let me know in the comments what that song is, because I know that that's a melody I know, and I'm totally blanking on it. All right.
Sorry.
Sorry, guys. We tried.
Editing Becca here. I ruminated on this for days and eventually realized the opening motif of this passage reminds me of one of the motifs in Patapan, but it's not at all the exact same, albeit a similar stylistic choice.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me with that guitar work? Are you kidding me with that intricacy, with that speed, with that ability that he has to pick those notes, to move his hands quickly enough to get that melody down like that, to not only technically do it, but to also deliver it with the dynamics and the emotion that he just did that? Like, that's so hard to do. That is so hard. That is not easy by any stretch of the imagination, and he, of course, nailed it. And I like that it adds, again, to the kind of chaotic nature, the panicky nature of this entire song and this entire, like, storyline. Okay, so again, another very similar thing to Ren here. So I think it would be probably smart to say that he has taken elements of this to incorporate them into the absolute masterpiece that is Ren. This being a masterpiece in and of itself, of course. But his voice will never not be absolutely hauntingly chilling when he's doing that type of just singing to me. It just cuts to the bone. It adds, as he's looking there, delivering that and kind of looking around, it's like he's almost confused. I don't know if he's still embodying Screech here. I know the video said two bodies lifeless, so I think Screech is dead. So I'm not sure. This is Violet's tale, so maybe this is Violet who he's embodying. I'm sure that you all are probably laughing at me if you know the story and you already know what's coming, or you're like, oh, Becca, you're not ready for it. But anyway, what I just wanted to point out here is the way whoever he is embodying here in this hospital bed, in this gown here, it's like looking around, almost confused, not being able to tell where he or she is, and the way that he was delivering that melody, that song, it wasn't quite like the yodeling with the power quite as much as it was in Ren, but it was very similar to that, very reminiscent of that. The way he's delivering this just ooh sound with the melody and kind of looking like what's going on here and confused about what's happening. That's the vibe I'm generally getting from that thus far. Okay, no, some of those lines, they're also very similar to the melody he does in Ren. Of course, I'm getting the wrong notes here. Ignore my horrible wrong notes. I swear he's taken a few of the motifs from this song and incorporated them into Ren. And once again, it ties all of his music together in such a wonderfully magical way that not many artists can manage, especially over the span of an entire career and multiple years.
London City, far from pretty, 2005. A lady down in Paddington is fighting just to stay alive. Rhythmic beats and bloodstains, she saw a lady weep. She's tired and frail. To set the scene, we must rewind the hands of time for Violet's tale.
Oh no, are we getting ready to go back to the very beginning of Jenny and Screech both and see them from Violet's point of view? And is Violet the person that Screech was calling on the phone? Is that what we're going with here? Is this Screech's girlfriend or whoever it was that he was talking to on the phone? Because if so, this is, oh boy, I'm not sure I'm ready for this. I really don't think I'm ready for this. But let's go ahead and rewind those hands of time.
We must rewind the hands of time for Violet's tale.
Again, musical interlude very similar to part of Ren. The similarities here, the borrowed motifs and stuff, that is not a thing that lazy artists do. That is a very smart way to incorporate things into your songs, and I'm just, sorry I keep bringing it up, I'm just amazed by it. It's just blowing me away. I love the way that he's done that, and even though there are some of the similar motifs, it still is a completely different song and different story and different melody overall, and it's just amazing.
Violet was a silent girl, grew up with violent starts. Her mother was a drinker and her father was a... Every night he took her tie but never left the room. I'll spare you of the things he did, I'm sure her mother knew.
Oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting that. It's gonna be kind of hard to talk about subject matter wise, so yeah. We're gonna try. Obviously, Violet, whose the story is now, we've taken it back, going through this from her perspective. She was a silent girl, grew up with violent starts, her mother was a drinker, and her father was a jerk, and every night he took her type, but never left the room. I'll spare you of the things he did, I'm sure her mother knew. I'm not sure how to go in depth into this without saying a bunch of words that will get flagged by the algorithm, and I don't like trying to serve the algorithm, but I also want people to be able to see this video, so I just want to say, if her father's not leaving the room, there are some definitely very dark things you can infer that are happening. There are some things that people should never have to deal with, some levels of mistreatment, and that is the mildest word that I can think of for this, causing all kinds of trauma to his daughter, and just hearing the story, it's hard to think about it. So even if it's a fictional story, I know that the reality is real for a lot of people, and that's really difficult to handle and process, so let's take it back a little.
Never left the room. I'll spare you with the things he did. I'm sure her mother knew. Violet was a silent girl, she moved out at 16. A semi-detached council flat, paid for by a welfare scheme. Packing shelves at Tesco, stacking jars like pickled bricks. She met a boy named Stevie and he was a little... Violet was a silent girl and Violet, she fell fast. See, Stevie was a wrong un, but he sure knew how to charm her.
Okay, we're gonna go back and not miss the transition here, but I love the way that they've used the word violent juxtaposed with violet multiple times. And in the verse before, as we mentioned, it says Violet was a silent girl, grew up with a violent start. So I love the slant rhymes that he's carrying throughout. But Violet was a silent girl, she moved out at 16. A semi-detached council flat paid for by a welfare scheme. Packing shelves at Tesco's, which is like the grocery store. Is that like a discount grocery store? I'm not 100% sure, but I know it's a grocery store of some kind in the UK. Stacking jars like pickled bricks, so stacking everything there up like super tightly together. She met a boy named Stevie, and he sounds like he was pretty bad news. Because the next verse goes on to say, again, Violet was a silent girl, and Violet, she fell fast. See, Stevie was a wrong'un, and I love the way that Ren twisted the rhymes. And they said Stevie was a wrong'un, but he sure knew how to charm her. Like, he made wrong'un and charmer, like, rhyme there, and that's just genius. That's just genius. That's just genius with slant rhymes.
Violet was a silent girl and Violet, she fell fast. See, Stevie was a wrong un, but he sure knew how to charm her. Every night he took her tight, but never left the room. History repeats itself, he'd paint her black and blue and dark.
No, I can't. I'm really glad I didn't record this yesterday when I initially planned to, because one of my medical treatments that I'm doing requires that I avoid all intense and potentially upsetting and or triggering media for a day before and a day after, and this is destroying me. This is destroying me. It's a masterpiece, but it's destroying me. So after that line about Stevie was a wrong'un, but he sure knew how to charm her, we get into some lines that made me just have the absolute most bone-chilling shivers I've had in a long time, if not some of the most bone-chilling of my life, because the line echoes exactly what her father did when he said he'd tuck her in at night, but he never left the room. Well, now Stevie says every night he'd tuck her tight, but never left the room. History repeats itself. He'd paint her black and blue and dark. Like, that's obviously another allusion to the fact that he would hit her, he would beat her, he would take out his anger on her in ways that she did not deserve. I'm trying not to say the A word because I don't want this algorithm to flag the video and take it down, but he was obviously not treating her right, and no one should have to go through that. I can't dwell on it too much or I'm gonna get really upset, so let's keep going on.
He'd paint her black and blue and dark. She never stood a chance. The devil comes to dance.
Oh my gosh, those lines. She never stood a chance. That line in of itself, oh my gosh. The artistry in just that one line. Also in the following line, the devil comes to dance, like, oh boy, oh. Not a whole lot to unpack there. I just love the way he delivered it. It was just so hauntingly beautiful.
History repeats itself. He'd paint her black and blue and dark. She never stood a chance. The devil comes to dance. Violet, why are you always so quiet? On her bedroom door and he's irate.
Oh my gosh. Oh oh, holy crap, are you serious? Oh, he's talking about the devil comes to dance, so I think now he's embodying the spirit of the devil, I think. Wait, no. He's actually, he's embodying Stevie here, but I think he's also saying that there is a parallel. Stevie is the devil that comes to dance. Stevie is the devil that's coming into her room to literally attack her and beat her night after night after night. And you can see again on his face here at the door, knocking there and saying these things, he's got this crazed, deranged look on his face. And also the way that he's doing the rhymes here is just so well done and executed. It has the line before it, you know, the devil comes to dance, and he goes among doors like knocking, says, Violet, why you always so quiet? Because we know that she was a silent girl. Do we know why she was a silent girl though? Because she dealt with this crap from her father growing up. And now she's just living through history repeating itself because she never actually had the outlet. She never had the outlet to express herself, to have her voice heard, to have her voice matter, to be seen by others, and to know that she really matters. So this is just continually repeating itself in her life. And that happens way more often than any of us would like to admit, but it happens all the time. And we'll take it back and get the transition into this whole section, but I want to remark on the first few rhymes that he's doing. There's like, Violet, why you always so quiet? On her bedroom door, and he's irate. So the word irate, he has changed the pronunciation there, bent it once again to fit the slant rhyme, and I just, again, you know, if you've seen any of my videos, you know that kind of stuff just makes my brain light up, because I love when artists can get creative and do that and deliver lines that otherwise wouldn't necessarily fit, yet they fit perfectly. So let's take it back and get the beginning of this part here.
The devil comes to dance. Violet, why are you always so quiet? On her bedroom door, and he's irate. He's been drinking and smoking, he's up late. And he stands by her bedside, she shakes, but her eyes stay shut. I know you're up. And he pinches her eyelids and folds them up. Violet, why are you lying to me, Violet? She stays silent, things turn violent.
Sorry guys, I had to pause that and take a break for a minute. Ren, of course, is doing this so well. The way he's acting it out, the way his face is encapsulating the spirit of this particular person that he's embodying right now, the way that he is able to deliver the intensity, his different facial expressions, he does all of that so artfully well, but it's also really unsettling. Not only given the subject matter itself is unsettling, the way he's doing that is done so exceedingly well, but really hits hard, really hits home hard, and makes it even kind of harder to watch and think through and process. So yeah.
Violet, why are you lying to me, Violet? She stays silent, things turn violent.
I want to quickly again remark on the camera work, much like the Tale of Screech, when they did the 4 shots, he illustrated the 4 shots on his guitar, and then the camera kind of slid down as if Ren was then the policeman squatting down to see if Screech was dead there. Similar thing that they did here when Stevie is coming here and he is coming to Violet and literally pinching her eyes open and saying, Violet, why you lying to me, Violet? And then once again gets back into she stays silent, because that's what she's been told her whole life, that she is supposed to stay silent and just take it. And then things turn violent. Once again, that word coming back. That's the sound of his fists when they fall like a crashing pilot. So once again, she is having this stuff that she's dealt with her whole life continually repeated and repeated and repeated again, and does not feel like she has a voice to speak up because it was taken from her at such a very young age. Oh my gosh. Really, really vivid imagery right there. I'm really scared to get into the rest of this, but we're gonna finish it out.
Violet, why are you lying to me, Violet? She stays silent, things turn violent. That's the sound of his fists when they fall like a crashing pilot. Hit like hailstones, one to the collarbone, full force, full blown.
And that sound again that he illustrated on his guitar there, he's doing that sound, it's like very, very jolty, very like bang, 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 and then it illustrates that's the sound of his fist when they fell like a crashing pilot. So even his guitar playing here is illustrating the fact that this violence is happening, that this beating is happening, that this stuff that should not happen is going down. A little scared to get into the rest of this, but we're going to.
She stays silent, things turn violent. That's the sound of his fists when they fall like a crashing pilot. Hit like hailstones, one to the collarbone, full force, full blown, blood splat, bone crack, knick knack, paddy whack, one to the jaw and the tooth spat, detached fist connects and disconnects a bone. A quick deflect to misdirect the blow, but nonetheless his punches met her throat. Such a mess he's left her bruised and broke. Violet, why you always so silent, Violet? Why you such a little liar, Violet? Do you think I want to do this, Violet? In character, she stays silent. Well, say something, Violet. Silence. Say something, Violet. Silence.
Okay, oh my gosh, all right. I didn't want to pause it there. Part of me wanted to, for lack of a better word, enjoy his delivery with the rap section, with the lines, with the flow and all of that, because of course it was so technically perfect, but the subject matter makes it really hard to enjoy that when he's delivering the words he's delivering. But he did that illustration on the guitar and said that that was the sound of his fists as they fell like crashing pilots, which is obviously a really loud sound because if a plane is crashing, that's like extremely destructive, extremely life-ending, extremely loud, extremely chaotic. And then goes down the list of things. There's hit like hailstones, one to the collarbone, full force, full blown, blood spat, bone crack, knick-knack, paddywhack. And I want to comment on that because knick-knack, paddywhack is actually from a nursery rhyme, and the first verse of that says, "This old man, he played one, he played knick-knack on my thumb with a knick-knack, paddywhack, give the dog a bone. This old man came rolling home." So obviously the chain of lyrics here that he's doing is talking about these different bones being broken, one to the collarbone, blood splat, bone crack, knick-knack, paddywhack, all extremely violent and extremely graphic imagery. It says, one to the jaw and a tooth spat, detached, fist connects and disconnects to the... And this is when he started getting into the rap flow here, which sounded a lot like his flow in Losing It, when he's delivering the lines, "F my luck is about to double up, non-stop, I'm Drake, I'm about to stop the clock, unlock, I break and chop the rhythm up. I make the music, just hype them up." Like, that's what this cadence here reminds me of, that he's delivering these lines with. The whole, a quick deflect to misdirect the blow. So of course there's all that internal multisyllabic rhymes there. A quick deflect to misdirect the blow, but nonetheless his punches met her throat. Again, sort of referencing some more lines from The Hunger, and or The Hunger was kind of calling back to this, where it says, "If you got a problem, my brother, I might just put on some rubber gloves and just choke you till larynx ruptures and blood, it just bubbles up and the bubbles just double up and you struggle cause luck is up, but I'm subtle at covering up the trouble." There's that kind of vibe here with these lines that he's specifically doing. Then he just continues to say, "Such a mess, he's left her bruised and broke." And then you can get, he's embodying that character and saying, "Violet, why you always so quiet, Violet? Why you such a little liar, Violet? Do you think I want to do this, Violet?" So this person is gaslighting her so much. It's like, "Why are you so quiet?" Instead of saying, "We know you're quiet because you've been told you can't speak up, you don't get a voice, your voice doesn't matter." Saying, "Why are you so quiet? It's really your fault. You could speak up anytime you want. Why, you think I want to do this? No, I have to do this. You deserve this. I'm trying to get out of my own head to think about this and analyze it. It's really hard to not get emotionally wrapped up into it. Then it goes back again to make note. It says, in character, she stays silent because, as we've discussed, that's what she has learned to do to protect herself for her whole life, starting with her father, starting with any of these men that have repeated this cycle throughout her life, including right here. And you say, "Well, say something, Violet." Silence. And I love the way that Ren, of course he's acting that, he says, "Well, say something about it," and it kind of turns like, silence. "Well, just say something, Violet." Silence. Like, I love the juxtaposition in the way that he does that there. It's just so powerful. And then again says, "Wait, say something, Violet." Not one word. She stays quiet. I'm wondering if that stays quiet means that she is now also dead, and if she is a third person who has fallen victim to death in this song itself. But since the hospital scene in the beginning said that this was rewinding, I'm thinking maybe she didn't quite die and maybe she's going to end up in the hospital, but let's keep going before I make any guesses and we'll just let it play out.
Why are you such a little liar, Violet? Do you think I want to do this, Violet?
In character, she stays silent.
Well, say something, Violet.
Silence.
Say something, Violet.
Silence.
Sirens again.
Wait. Say something, Violet.
Not one word. She stays quiet.
Okay, so that last part's like, wait. So those first two times, like, say something, Violet, silence. Say something, Violet, silence. And then it's like, he realizes, holy crap, what have I done? Violet, come on, say something. It's like, not one word, she stays quiet. So he may think that she's dead right now. He may think she's just knocked out. But it seems like the third time he's delivering that line that just say something, Violet. Wait, say something, Violet. He's realized that he's done something way beyond repair here. And then the sirens in the background, again, sticking with that siren imagery that has gone through all three of these songs here. Oh, so powerful.
Wait. Say something, Violet.
Not one word. She stays quiet.
Once again, those notes are very similar to the opening line of High Ren, or the opening melody of High Ren after he does the very beginning instrumental intro, and I love the little Easter eggs. I'm loving the Easter eggs.
London City, far from pretty, 2005. A lady down in Paddington is fighting just to stay alive. The doctor, in a state of shock, saw something here so very wrong. See, Violet, she was pregnant. Poor Violet, she was 9 months gone. Turning to the doctor, Violet broke her silence and she cried, "If I'm to die right here tonight, please let my baby stay alive." The doctor soon regained...
No, wait, what? Wait a minute, what? I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't ready for that. She's obviously been hurt. She's fighting to stay alive. I'm assuming she's at the hospital now because this is the doctor in a state of shock. Saw something that was so very wrong. See, Violet, she was pregnant. Poor Violet, she was 9 months gone. Now, I'm assuming that means that she was 9 months along in her pregnancy, that she'd been dealing with this and had somehow kept it a secret, had not sought out the medical help, had not done that. Or maybe it's just saying that the baby that she was carrying was killed as a result of this, and there's 9 months that she would have been carrying this baby that's now gone because she doesn't have this child anymore. Holy moly. Holy crap. My gosh.
Turning to the doctor, Violet broke her silence and she cried, "If I'm to die right here tonight, please let my baby stay alive." The doctor soon regained composure, called the surgeon to come in. As Violet's world turned to black, the curtains closed, the lights went dim. In London City, far from pretty, 2005. A lady down in Paddington just lost the fight to stay alive. A tragedy or a miracle, it happened on these very streets. Two twins aligned side by side. A girl named Jenny and a boy named Screech.
The what? What? Hold on, what? Alright, so I was not expecting this ending at all. I'm thinking about those lines here. I think what's going on here? It said it rewound time to get Violet's tale, and we thought, I mentioned, that Violet might be the person that Screech was trying to call on the phone. Nope. Seems like Violet was pregnant with twins. Jenny and Screech, who were separated, I'm assuming for whatever reason, did not recognize each other. Could also be a parallel, all of the Violet staying still, Violet not speaking up, to Jenny freezing and standing still and not being able to move, kind of recalling her mother's own response. Screech, not ever having a mother potentially, if this in fact is what's going on here. Violet giving birth to these twins who stayed alive, even though her life went black, the curtains were drawn, she was dead, everything went dim. They were still alive, they met back out on those streets without even realizing who each other was, it seems like. And it also, that was a parallel with Jenny and Violet, and then now we know Stevie was potentially the father to both of these, so Screech is mirroring the violence that we're hearing Stevie exhibit toward Violet. Screech did the same thing to Jenny, and oh my gosh, that was a gut punch I was not expecting in the last verse. I was not expecting that twist. Holy moly, holy crap, oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting that at all. This was a really difficult trilogy of songs to get through. Very emotional, obviously very serious, and fairly upsetting subject matter. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad you all recommended it, but oh my gosh, this was hard. This was a hard thing for the heart to handle. But again, it just speaks to the mastery that Ren has in putting together a story that someone can connect to, even if it's a fictional story, even if it's not their own life, even if it's something that they might not have explicitly personal connection with, which a lot of us have connection with this theme to some degree, not necessarily to the degree described in the song, although some do, and it's absolutely horrifically tragic. However, the themes of common humanity, the twist ending there, all of this he has put together in this perfect package of storytelling and this bardcore Renaissance style, and I am here for it. But it's gonna be a long time before I can watch this one again. Now, the tricky part is gonna be I have to watch it multiple times while I'm editing it, and this has been a fairly long video, so I'm gonna be watching it a lot, actually. After that, though, definitely gonna have to take a break, because this was a rough one. This was rough. Glad I did it. Glad you recommended it, all of you that did. But oh my gosh, that was, I don't have words. I don't have words anymore. I used all my words already. So we're just gonna end this here and say thank you guys for recommending that. Thank you for stopping by. If you like this, let me know. If you have any further recommendations, please let me know down below. But on that note, we're gonna let this song just kind of breathe on its own and say I'll see you in the next one. Please take care of yourselves.